Hello everyone, this is Nancy at Paper Moon Tarot, and I have gotten a few decks lately, and I was debating about, doing an individual walkthrough for each or something. But I decided I'd kind of do a combo video. Basically, all three of these decks really appeal to me. I really like them. And they appeal to me to a great extent because of the art. But then it occurred to me the art is so different on each one that it would be an interesting way to show you guys the variety of what I like out there, and sort of mention some things that I'm not crazy about. Kind of tell you, who I am as a deck buyer, as a deck collector. I've actually recently been downsizing my deck collection. I've sold like 30 decks off, and I have another list of about 30 that I'm going to sell. So if you're looking for decks, put a note down below and I'll send you my list. Um, but I really am trying to come down to the decks that I really love the art. I really love the quality, because I have a few that I really love the art and the quality of the cards just sucks. And so I'm narrowing those down. I'm narrowing out, taking out the ones that don't appeal to me. So anyway, these three do. And I suspect will stay in my collection for a long, long time. And what we've got here is on this side, the Mind's Eye Tarot, which I can get in frame here, do it upside down. Mind's Eye Tarot is a US Games mass market deck. And I just discovered it and I thought, well, the art here is so beautiful. And I am just totally upside down. I don't know why my camera is doing that. But there's the book. And it's quite a nice book and quite nice packaging. And the cardstock is lovely. US Games has kind of upped their quality. It's linen, it's beautiful and flexible, and beautiful card backs and so on. The middle deck is the Fox's Wedding Tarot, and that's where this one is a mass market, this one is an indie deck. And I'll put all the details below about where I got them, who they're from, who the creators are. And again, beautiful linen-y cardstock, lovely backs, and so on. And the final one is the Raincoast Visions Tarot, which is by the creator of the Raincoast Tarot, Christoph James, and it's very different, and I really like it. But you will see how very different these decks are. And tell me which one you prefer down below. Be interesting. So I'm going to start with, I think, the mass market one, the Mind's Eye Tarot. Put these other two aside. And just show you some of these cards. And then I will show you some of the cards from each of the decks laid out next to each other. And we can kind of compare the upside down. Everything's going to be upside down today. That's your reading for the day. That's my reading for the day. And we're going to try and get this focused better. And that world card is kind of atypical for the deck. So let me get to the ones that look more like the artwork. And the artwork is just so pretty. I think Olivia Rose is the name of the artist. And I saw it in someone's review and I thought, it's very children's book illustration-ish, but it's beautiful children's book illustrations. And so I got it and I was like, well, I'm really tired of ordering mass market decks and I get them and they're just too cute or too this or that. I will say, first of all, I will get this card direction right. That the color palette is beautiful and it's very RWS. The titles are easy to read, but please, deck creators, use sans serif fonts. They're so much easier to read instead of the ones with the little sort of flags. Gotta learn where to point. The little flags on the F's and W's and T's and so forth. Just straightforward, simple font. Okay, moving on. That doesn't bother me that much in this deck, but I had a moment of complaint. So the thing about this art is, frankly, the ones where there's a face, it's a very little girl's face to me, or maybe a 15-year-old girl, and that's throughout the deck. And although it's children illustration style, the art's so pretty that I don't really notice that. Or I skip it over, you know, I'm like, it's okay. Now, the ones where you've got, sorry for this directionality here, but the ones where you've got a face that isn't face on, like this one here next to the lion, it doesn't bother me as much. Where they're like this, it's a whole different mood for me. It's a little girl, and they're not my favorite cards. But anyway, I like all the cards in this deck. There isn't a card where I don't say, wow, what pretty colors, what pretty art. And I think there's a lot of sort of Disney-ish or cartoonish or pretty-ish. I say that because this is pretty. It's beautiful. But it's not, I don't know, a lot of the sort of Celtic decks have this very pretty romance novel-y art. I don't like it. I like beautiful art when it's really good art. I mean, I think this is really well done art. And not like the publisher called up an artist and said, could you create some pretty pictures that show a green man and whatever. So anyway, this is one deck, the Mind's Eye Tarot, where I think the art is beautiful, mass market deck with good cardstock, really good cardstock. And now as far as diversity, there are people in here with green faces, brown faces, white faces, yellow faces. It's kind of a fairy-ish feel to the deck. So you don't, as far as race, you don't think so much about it. Age, I think, is where the downfall is. All the faces are pretty young. So anyway, this deck is, the faces are very similar when you see a full-on face. Um, but it's just beautiful. And that is, I've gotten it all upside down. It's my upside down day, guys. Okay, I love the backs. They're very simple, very pretty. Okay, so that is the Mind's Eye Tarot. Now, let's look at the Fox's Wedding. Again, just beautiful cardstock, beautiful backs. I love these backs. They're sort of like reminiscent of an older historic deck, and linen cardstock. Very nice. But nice muted colors. I love that. And this is I will say, a partially curated deck in the sense that it is, it has, let's find you some images that are not the pip cards. It is a pipish deck, but I think the pips are beautiful. So I just think of it as an historic deck, like a Marseille type deck that has these beautiful pip cards. And I have to do this backwards too. So it uses curated art, but within a background, usually. It's not just the historical image, the curated art image. It is also, there's some additions to it. It's used within a framework. I just think it's beautiful. It's a stunning deck, and I have several curated art decks, but I consider this one to really be one of the best. Card quality, card backs, I love the pips. I love the fact that there are beautiful pips. And anyone who likes a Marseille style deck, because you like the pips, it gives you freedom in your interpretation um, of the cards, then I think you would be enchanted by this deck too. Um, but anyway, this is very different, obviously, from the Mind's Eye Tarot. Um, there is nothing about this that resembles that, but I think they're both beautiful in a very different way. Now, this is all, in Mind's Eye, it's all hand done art. I mean, she created this using watercolors and chalk, I think, and tea. It was kind of an interesting combination. And these are obviously curated images, but they're well curated, and I appreciate that. So, two types of art. Pull that away, and both of which I think are stunning. I really am enjoying these. And this is what I look for in a deck. I want to like the appearance of the deck. I don't get particular vibes from decks beyond the beauty of the art. Now, the final one, the Raincoast Visions Tarot, which I think was a very limited run by Christoph James, but you can check and see if it's still available. It was a Kickstarter, I believe. Has a Ouija board on the back. I'm not crazy about Ouija boards myself, so I'm sad about that because I don't like the backs. I don't really like to look at them. But that said, the deck itself, upside down though it may be, I need a cup of coffee, guys, has this really amazingly beautiful art, photo collage style art, very intense. I don't know if I can find the Hermit for you, because the Hermit is like really intense. And it's very much faces, a lot of them looking directly at you, and a variety of, wow, you know, it's like I kind of appreciate a real face, not a pretty face, but faces with age. You know, that as an Ace of Coins is pretty intense. I'm not really sure. And this is an intense deck. And I've probably used that phrase several times about this. It just stares straight through you. It's beautiful. There's some beautiful, beautiful images here. And then there's some rather disturbing images. But I keep being drawn to it. I keep coming back and looking at it and saying, it's beautiful. The shinier cardstock, not linen, flexible, good cardstock. But I think in the case of this deck, the colors need to pop. And so the shiny choice was a good one. But fascinating choices, just like in his Raincoast Tarot. The Raincoast Visions has these interesting artistic choices that you can delve into for your readings. But it is beautiful. So, but totally different, you know, if I'm gonna compare with this and this, three very, very different styles, and yet I think they're all three amazing. So let me know what you think. I recommend these decks, all three of them. One mass market, two indie, and I'll put the links below for where to get them. But let me know what you think about art in decks. What appeals to you among these three? What decks don't appeal to you? Like, you know, not to trash anybody, but Alana Fairchild decks, even Giacchetti decks, they're too pretty. They're too perfect. They're, again, to me, like romance novel cover art, and I don't like them. And I know that's not a popular opinion because a lot of people love them, but a lot of the oracles, Doreen Virtue and people like that, I forget it. I just don't, they just don't appeal to me. So this is why, because this is the kind of thing I find to be stunning. And the other, what I sort of call pop music tarot decks, don't appeal to me. So that's my opinion. Fascinated to hear yours. And thanks, guys, for watching. Talk soon. Bye.